Joining us now is Christopher Leyva from the Falling Doves. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Nice to see you. Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful to see you again, too. When last we met, we were talking to a mutual friend of ours who's a sculptor, and I don't know, I fell in love with your attitude, your style, and the fact that you're making life happen for people. So your music is is all you. I've watched so many videos now, Christopher. I was thinking to myself, there's something unique about the way that you bring things forth. Tell us about your journey. Tell me about how it started for you.
I think, man, growing up, I think in the 90s, there was not a lot of a lot of things to kind of go towards. I think we all find the music that resonates with us, and obviously, I'm a kid from the 80s, really. And so obviously in the 90s was anti-80s, so anything with any type of that sound was taboo. Nobody listened to a lot of that stuff. And that's what I gravitated towards. But going back to the very, very beginning, and they say a lot of people can remember where being a baby, and I remember being a baby. It sounds weird. I remember a lot of things. And the first thing I remember is laying in a crib and hearing Imagine and Jailhouse Rock over and over and over again. And I think that was the beginning of my journey as what would emphasize my music and where I would go and going forward into back to the 90s. It's not that I didn't identify with the music. I just was looking for somewhere to belong, and it wasn't until first real record was really the Beach Boys, and that opened up my palette, my artistic palette to magic. I mean, you listen to the music of the Beach Boys, and it's like, oh my God, it really is a heavenly experience for anybody that has the pleasure to listen to that. And eventually, I was working with the disabled children in high school. I'd volunteer, and this little kid gives me a Beatles cassette. And I take that home and listen to it. And I mean, I knew about the Beatles. I knew of the Beatles, but I never really went in that world. I knew more about John Lennon than I did about the Beatles. You know, and and that was it at that point. And I remember taking that CD home, or the little cassette, and then going on this quest for music and finding just finding pieces of you, which is what music is, to get you through, to know that there's more. I didn't grow up necessarily in poverty, but I grew up in a very rough neighborhood, and hip hop was dominant, and along with that was violence, and I just didn't identify with that. By default, you had to join a gang, but I even then didn't really fit in with that. I was always more into. I was they leave me alone. They go, oh, that's the writer guy or the
Yeah, he's
artistic guy.
I know. What are you going to do?
Yeah, leave
Kill
him
somebody
alone.
with your pen? It's like who's like.
Yeah, no, they look after me. They look after me. So the gangs did, and moving forward, it's funny how when you really think back, right? I haven't really thought about a lot of that stuff. Um, and I remember, I remember sitting in college and talking to my professor, and he's like, well, you're good at all these things. I got you in art class. I got you in acting class. He's like, but this isn't for you.
Hmm.
And we're gonna have I put together a little meeting for you on Friday, and I would like for you to attend. And I go, okay. What did I do something wrong? He's like, no, no, no. Uh, I just I'll see you on Friday, and every day, I was going to my little jobs and just thinking, what did I do wrong? And I get on Friday to the office, and all three of my professors are sitting there. My music teacher, my acting teacher, and then my other professor that does philosophy. And he goes, Christopher, you know, we're all friends and we've been talking about, and you're one of the common things that has, you know, brought us a giggle here. And the thing is, what you're going to do and where you're going to go is not, you're not going to get it at the school. So, you know, we're going to support you every part of the way, but, you know, you need to go find the songwriters. You need to find your people. You need to find the people that are going to make you become who you're going to be.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting there. It was like a breakup, you know?
You're like, what?
And I was like, I,
Oh,
I, I mean, is this normal? Like, does this happen? And, and, and I remember when he's holding this piece of paper, he's like, we're not kicking you out of school. Finish your term, finish everything good, and then go off. And he gives me, he goes, I remember he goes, I go, well, I mean, how do you go about that? You know, this is the time before the internet and all of that, you know? And he goes, hold on, just like I'm doing for you right now.
right?
And he picks up this paper and he goes to the entertainment. And then he goes, oh, there you go. This is where you're going to go today. And he just goes like that. And you're going to meet that guy and just talk to him. Tell him you're doing a report for school. And
And
that's
that's
it.
the start.
Just
That was
learn
the start.
everything about it. And so I went to this coffee shop where this performer that was in the paper was going to be at. This local, you know, hero in town that was a songwriter. And I mean, when you look at the picture of this guy, right? I wish I would have had pictures for show and tell here. But you know, you look at this picture and he's just sitting there with the guitar, and I go, "Oh, that's a songwriter, okay." And it turns out, you know, I mean, now knowing the future, back in the '90s, we have an artist called Jewel, and there was this guy named Steve Poltz, singer-songwriter, who wrote all these songs with her and made her a global phenomenon with his songwriting. And if I waited until at the end of the show, he would look for me. He'd go, "Hey, just wait until the end of the show. I'll give you some tips." And I would be there every week on his residency, you know, waiting to learn things. And he would tell me things about, at this point, never anything about chords. It was just about life, you know. And I just wanted to wait to when we were going to play guitar, you know, and he was going to teach me something. And nope, it was more about learning about life and about the pathway. And after that, you know, he gave me some very terrible advice about how to become a songwriter. And I followed through all the way through. And I have zero regrets. But that's how my journey as a songwriter began.
So fascinating. And when we met, you were here in New York and you were on your way to do some gigs and stuff in Manhattan. So you've traveled extensively. You've brought show after show to people. And, you know, I just wanted to give you your props, your flowers, and just say to people, you know, hey, please go check out my friend Christopher. He's really talented. He's got a lot to say. And you're bringing, I guess, an awareness and a love and a truth that a lot of groups aren't really doing. You have this introspective coolness about you, right? And you just emote cool. Like when I see you, when I first met you, I was like, you got it going on. You've got that style, that like pizzazz. But I know that you're doing that so that you can impart, I guess, tools, if you will, for future generations, and also to do a healing, if you will, for those of us that are sometimes in pain. Before we go, I see that you got your guitar. You gonna play a little something for me?
Oh, no, I literally was making sure it was working because I got to go over a few songs, you know. First, before we continue with something like that, I wanted to thank you for that beautiful message, your beautiful words, and they mean a lot. You know, not a lot of people. I always tell the boys in the bands whenever we tour, I go, you know, the music is the elemental part. I go, the magic that we bring to people, the feeling of joy, the hope, you know, is really what this is about. So, you know, I'm not a religious man, more spiritual, but there is an element of spirituality and healing that goes with just your persona in the moment that you're there with them. And I think that, you know, that is a responsibility. Everything that you see here is not things that I just. It was things that I found throughout my life to identify being an artist, but also being uniquely individual. You know, you see this crazy hair. You
I
know, I
know.
couldn't comb it. I couldn't brush it at school. It was just so bushy. And one day I just gave up, and that became that. You know, and I was just a kid with the weird hair. But you look at Bob Dylan or James Dean, and they have big hair. You know,
Right.
glasses. I would be so nervous when I was younger. So this artist gave me these. He says, "Put on some sunglasses, and it'll help you get through the show with anxiety and stress." You know, scarves. You know, it's a little jacket. You know, Stuart from the Beatles, Stuart Sutcliffe used to wear that, and so that made me feel like something back then when I was little. So going to school, I was a weird kid in California with a dress jacket and a scarf. Made no sense to anybody, but they go, maybe he's special. But just wanted to thank you for those those you know that you know you've been able to actually see me, you know, and see what I try to bring, and appreciate you.
Oh, and I appreciate you as well. And I know that the logo on your shirt, my connection and my friend Craig Braun is like, did that. Like, so you've got like this really cool, fun style about you. So show me, what were you doing? Were you tuning that instrument, getting it ready to go?
Yeah. No. So after I get off with you, I'm having
Uh-huh.
a live rehearsal with the bass player that's coming over. We have a show tonight. It's a private birthday party for a friend of mine's husband, and so I surprised him at his restaurant while he was working. I just showed up with a guitar and started singing "Happy Birthday" to him. He
There you
doesn't
go.
know that we're doing a full 2-hour concert today at a venue. I called
Wow.
a venue. They let me borrow the venue. He's going to show up. The room's going to be packed with 200 people, and it's his birthday. And then I got this guitar I'm going to give him from his wife too. Fucking,
Oh,
he's
that's
going to have a
touching.
blast. And
I
as you were
love that.
saying, those are the things you remember how you make people feel. You know, all the other stuff's cool. You know, we get to do cool things. Um,
Yeah.
so part of being a songwriter, I'm gonna leave you with just this little tiny bit of a little tidbit. Steve Poltz, you guys can look him up. He's a lot of fun. Um, he taught me that you should always be ready to write a song, and he taught me to make a song in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, to make it catchy and cool. And so we're gonna try that process here. Ooh, okay. So we're gonna write a Donna Drake song for the show.
Thank you, Christopher.
It's a Donna Drake show today. It's a Donna Drake show, yeah. For you to know. If you're awake in California, turn it on. I wouldn't know because I sleep until 4. Oh yeah, it's a Donna Drake show. Oh, it's a Donna Drake show, you know.
Thank you, Christopher. Mwah. Until we get to break bread
Peace and
again,
love.
peace and love to you too, my friend. Happiness always. Oh my gosh, it was so good just to see your face again.
Have a
Have fun
wonderful day,
tonight.
and we'll see each other. Thank you so
Indeed, we
much.
will. Thank you so much. Cheers to you.
Rock and
God
roll.
bless
See us
you.
on tour, FallingDovesWorldTour.com.
Woo! Love it. Be good. Bye.